two together. We're going to continue till further notice. Item number 10, continue that to 2010. Mr. Taylor? Thought they would get a joke out of you. All right, number 1 and 2, please. We'll do those together. Keep you employed.
For items 1 and 2, we have reappointments for the Commission on the Status of Women. One is for Ms. Francine Wilson, and the other one is for Rocio Cordova, and this is for the Commission on the Status of Women.
Isn't it Dr. Wilson?
I'm happy to be Ms.
Well, I thought I confirmed you.
Yes,
Like-
you did, sir.
How long ago?
That was in January. I was filling out a term.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, because I remember I said, see, like you were just here. So you liked it so much you want to continue?
Exactly.
Have you accomplished anything?
Well, I think we're really on our way.
How's the director, the general manager?
Kelly Hawkins is awesome.
Why is she blushing?
She's very effective.
Yeah, she is. She does a great job out there. So 2 reappointments. You want to come back too?
Yes, good afternoon, Councilman Burke.
Yeah.
I have been very honored to serve over the past year and a few months, and has been a wonderful opportunity and honor, and been focusing primarily on the policy agenda for the Commission, serving as Legislative Committee Chair, and look forward to continuing to support the Commission and our wonderful Executive Director, Kelly Hawkins.
She's still blushing. Kelly was put in that position to try and get it moving forward, and I think she's done a great job making that happen. These resumes are incredible, what you ladies have accomplished.
Thank you.
Been
Thank
to
you.
every school in the country, maybe every school in the world. I look at this, 19 pages. Very, very nice. So how can we make it better? What can we in the council do to help make it better, other than giving you more money?
I would say continuing to just have an open mind and support some of the recommendations that we put forward on behalf of the women and girls in the city. We look forward to continuing to collaborate with the council.
And just as Commissioner Cordova has been leading the legislative committee, we've just started a jobs committee that I'm chairing, and we really hope to be a policy voice for women and girls in Los Angeles and helping them to see that they can achieve what they set out to achieve.
Now, what about in our minority communities? Are we reaching out to try and get them on focus for an education, a career, to break some of the cycles that occur?
Absolutely. I think the Commission has done a wonderful job through its YWAR program, through Young Women from Adversity to Resiliency. And going forward, as we have identified in our policy agenda, we're really looking to ensure that we provide analysis to the, to look at policies that support the most underserved, women of color and low-income women and immigrant young women in our communities through a variety of different areas, including education, including opportunities for inclusion and other kinds of issues that really affect the most underserved women and girls.
Because we reach out and we encourage that part of the community. It just helps rebuild those communities. It gives them some opportunities, and then that trickles down and it continues to turn those communities into very positive areas where you see poverty and poverty and poverty, and that cycle that seems to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And if I might add, one of the things that we're trying to do is not to reinvent the wheel. So working with other groups that have similar ideas, and working with DWP and other city agencies to emphasize women in non-traditional occupations, getting girls interested in jobs in the fire department and other areas that have good salaries. We've also been meeting regularly in each of the council districts, having one of our monthly meetings in different council districts in the evening so that women and girls can attend, as well as our having more traditional meetings here in City Hall. And I think this is a way for us to really reach a larger audience. I, for example, went with Kelly Hawkins to meet with members of the Women in Building Trades unions and the UCLA Downtown Labor Center to talk about the ways that we could partner with them. So we weren't really trying to replicate what other people are doing.
And we invite you to come out to the Valley, the 3rd District. We'd be happy to host you out in the Canoga Park, Reseda, West Hills. We have a lot of opportunities out there.
Thank you. We look forward to that. And I think to add on to Commissioner Wilson's comments is that we are also really playing a larger role in building bridges with other organizations to develop more collaborations and partnerships and serve as a resource to them, as well as serve as a liaison, so that we can learn from them in terms of what are the issues that are happening in various parts of the cities. And so during some of these community meetings, we've had an opportunity to hear from community-based organizations who are in those districts and really get a much better sense of what are the needs and what are the opportunities for us to partner and lend that kind of support.
Excellent. You ever work with the YMCA, YWCA?
I don't believe they've been one of the presentations, but they are one of the partners in terms of the bar.
They were at our last meeting, and you were caught in traffic.
Oh, okay.
The YWCA woman was there, and we look forward to working more with them. But they were at our last meeting, which was at where was it, Kelly? It was at the
Epic Center.
Epic Center.
Okay, good. So it's broadening out, reaching out to all segments, which is great. Okay. Well, congratulations for your willingness to serve continuously and working with Kelly to make those changes that are necessary for our community. So we're going to move this forward to council when?
I'll coordinate that with the nominees.
Okay, when it's convenient for you ladies.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Good seeing you both
Councilmember.
again. Thank you.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Bye. Number 3, please.
The city attorney has submitted an ordinance, and this is in response to your motion as well as Mr. Smith's, relative to an amendment to the admin code to provide pension flexibility for the chief engineer of the fire department and the chief of police, and to more accurately reflect the fundamental purposes of the deferred retirement option program as it applies to the selection of those chiefs.
Okey-doke.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Pete Echeverria from the City Attorney's Office, and Mary Jo Kerwin, also from our office. This ordinance would do 2 things. One is it would enable the either the chief of police or the chief of the fire department, should they be someone who was appointed at the time they were participating in drop, which requires retirement at the end of their drop participation.
After 5 years.
Right. Although they could choose a shorter period of time if they like, that it would enable someone in that position to continue serving by rescinding their drop participation, and it would apply only in those narrow circumstances. That's one of the things that it does. The other thing that it does is it reiterates and clarifies the council's intent always that if there were someone appointed from outside the city to be chief of police or chief of the fire department, that person wouldn't necessarily have to go into the fire and police pension plan, but could opt out of that plan and be a member of the LACERS plan. And that gives certain advantages to somebody coming in from the outside who would take a shorter time to vest, for example, in LACERS.
Because you vest in the police and fire after 20 years,
Correct.
and you can only serve as chief of the police for 10 years,
Correct.
so you never make it.
Right. So, and again, this reiterates the intent of council for some time. It just makes it clearer in the code that that's what was intended all along.
So what happens if you're in LACER, in police and fire pension plan, and you have 35 years, so well, you have 33 years, and then you go into drop. So you've got 33 years, which is your 90% pension, and now you 5 years into drop. And then you decide to do this. What happens that 5 years that you put into the drop, the money that you put into drop?
Under this plan, the drop account would be eliminated, it would be forfeited, and you would...
When you forfeit 5 years of drop?
Of the drop, but not the benefits of having served the 5 years, because your pension would then be recomputed, recalculated as though you had never participated in drop, and you would
You can
have...
only get a max at 33 years. You max out at 33 years. If you stay longer, your pension doesn't enhance.
Presumably, your salary has changed, and you would have
Salary
other
changes.
and you would have other benefits.
So you're 90% of a higher salary.
Correct.
But you can't get more than 90%. You're not going to get 95 or 100%.
Correct. And so that's the
A
choice.
higher salary would then give you a higher return on your pension.
Right. And so that's the choice that you make if you want to stay on at that
So
point.
you're forfeiting the money you put into drop, back into the drop system, and that's all legal.
Yes. And it's a voluntary decision.
Financially,
I'm sorry, financially, it's voluntary, so it's voluntary in every sense of the word.
so that's money that you've earned, and for the tax code and all that issue, you've earned that money, you can't draw it. You could draw it actually at any time once you're in drop.
You're not,
Not to draw it, are there any,
And Mary Jo will-
are there any tax consequences?
Mary Jo will correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not able to draw that money until the time that you do retire.
Right.
Correct. So this would be,
Eligible any time after that 5 years to draw it. You could do,
Correct.
in other words, 1 year in drop or 5 years. And that money accumulates. So say you have 3 years, then you decide to retire, you take whatever's in that drop in addition to your pension and walk away. So you're going to forfeit that money in lieu of a higher pension because your higher salary. Are there any tax liabilities for that person who takes that drop and decides to go out of drop into the convention, revert back to the pension plan?
the tax consequences would be different because you are obviously taking your benefits in a different form. But there's no adverse consequences other than the fact that you've chosen to take them in a different
never
form.
drawn down on them.
Correct.
Okay. Now, how would this affect other personnel in the police and fire department?
It would not.
What if they want to do that? Now, we open ourselves up to grievances, unfair labor practices, lawsuits to say, if you do it for these folks, why don't we do it for the other people in the organizations?
There's no, that we can find, there's no right to this kind of a benefit. It's being provided in large part for the benefit of the city so that the city can avail itself of the experience and the abilities of someone who has this kind of length of service with the city and who otherwise would be precluded from continuing to serve as chief, but only as chief. And clearly, I think the case can be made, and I think a compelling case, that the position of chief of either department is a unique position.
Correct.
So I don't see that an equal protection argument would be an availing one.
The equal protection, equal benefits for
Right.
one group versus another group. To say that captains, commanders, after their 5 years, would wish to say, I want to stay on the job, I don't want to retire, I don't want to take that drop, convert that back and let me continue.
And the only
I know
technical,
this is only for the rank of chief of police, but do we open ourselves up to any type of litigation by excluding? In other words, we're taking a group, chief of police, chief of fire department, only them and no one else. While everyone else is eligible, the only individuals we're saying can revert back to their assignment without continuing to drop, to forfeit drop, are those two categories. Do we jeopardize a lawsuit with commanders, captains, lieutenants, sergeants that say, you did it for them, why can't I do it? It's the same pension plan.
I believe that the compelling argument is that the position of chief of police and the benefit that the residents of the city get by having the best qualified individual at the time serve in that position through the ability to do this would be a compelling argument to a court.
Are you willing to argue that?
Yes, I am.
When you retiring?
I haven't quite decided, but I'm not eligible for drop. Make me eligible, and we'll see.
No, I'm just looking at the overall, someone comes in to say, okay, it's discriminatory practice. You're all in the drop program, you're all eligible, but you're excluding everyone in category except the highest level in both organizations. Say we were to say this was only eligible for men and not women, would we have discrimination? Probably
If
so.
gender-based discrimination would be a problem. This
Okay.
is not that. This
then
is
do we
this
have-
is a situation where we are essentially making a judgment that this person and this position, actually, not the person, but the position is so important to us that we want the best qualified person to serve, and we don't want to place the artificial limitation on it, which, by the way, is imposed by ordinance by the council, not by the charter. So that's why you're able to do this by ordinance.
I'm just looking at someone saying, I'm in drop, I don't want to continue, I want to, if it's good enough for the chief, it's good enough for me. A captain or a commander or a deputy chief, a battalion chief, to say, you know what, I want to do it. Why can't I do it? Why am I being excluded from it? When the chief of police can only serve in that term for 10 years by charter, the fire chief can serve indefinitely, and someone coming along the line to say, why can't we do it? Why are we being excluded from this process? In other words, I want to make sure that we're covered, so we
I
don't
feel-
open up a can of worms.
I feel there's an even more compelling argument for making this kind of an exception than there would be to defend an action, say, if an employee of the city attorney's office felt that they were being discriminated against by not having a drop program like fire and police.
But they're easy to recruit city attorneys.
No, I agree, but
How do you-
I think that those kinds of judgments that the city makes, for example, in having a drop program at all, and what departments it would apply with, or apply to, are, that we do have this kind of discretion.
Has any other
Make
city,
this
I know other
judgment.
cities have dropped, has any other city ever done this?
I don't
With
know.
the chief of police or any other position where they've reverted back?
I know that I've talked to other cities that had similar situations where they were limited in who they could consider, and they were, but it didn't turn out that they had to do it. But I know that another city was considering doing a similar thing, except they decided to hire someone from the outside that wasn't in drop. So I think this is a unique situation.
Well, granted, it's unique. I just want to make sure we're not opening up ourselves up for liability and for lawsuits by other individuals who may say, I'm a battalion chief with the fire department, I'm a deputy chief or an assistant chief with the police department, I want to do the same thing. And then to do a test case, and then file a lawsuit against the city. And then we go through all this hoopla to try and defend it in court. Is the court going to say, you can do this, or no, you're discriminated against these other employees?
I think for everybody else, it would really be a labor issue, a meet and confer, and they are, negotiating, discussing cost neutrality and other modifications to drop, and I think it would be appropriate if there was a desire for other people to have that discussed in the labor negotiations. It would be a meet and confer item.
Because when you get into drop, you have a 5-year maximum, and then after that 5 years, you're pushed out of the organization. You can stay on the department until you wish to retire. There's no mandatory retirement age like some federal agencies. So police and fire, if you want to stay till you're 99 years old, you can stay till you're 99 years old. There's no forced retirement. Except when you get into drop, then you are forced out after 5 years in drop. And you can get a drop, I think, at 26
Right.
years,
They have to have 25 years,
25 years.
plus certain age.
And not that I want to point out any situations where there's vulnerabilities, because I don't think there is one, but currently, the way the ordinance is written, everyone in either the fire or police department qualifies, who's a member of the plan qualifies, except the chief of police or the chief of the fire department. So right now, we have the reverse exclusion. Right now, the chiefs cannot participate in drop under the current provisions. This wouldn't change that, by the way.
But our current fire chief is in drop.
That's because he entered it before the change in the plan.
The first 5 years, chiefs could enter. The second 5-year renewal, chiefs were excluded, I think maybe in part because they recognized that it wasn't desirable to put chiefs in and have them artificially forced to leave.
Again,
But
that's
But then the chief of the police department can't do more than 10 years, no matter how good or bad he or she may be.
correct.
That's 10 years and you're gone, not the fire department. So you have,
I'm just pointing out that there's a different treatment for chiefs already, even though it may be, by some, it might be considered adverse.
so you think this can be defended?
I believe so.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, because I can see
You do a
someone-
good job.
I can see someone saying, you know what, if it's good enough for the chief, it's good enough for me.
Right.
Just to do the test case, if nothing
Sure.
else. If we gotten sign off by the fire union and the police union,
I certainly have not spoken to them. The mayor's office may have spoken to them, but I have not.
Or do you know?
I don't know. I don't believe, since this concerns just the chief, that they necessarily have to, but I don't really know the background.
Well, they do have the Command Officers Association for the fire and for the police.
Correct.
I have not heard if they have a problem.
I was only told, so I can't
Were you told?
attest to the reliability that the fire chiefs, the command and the firefighters unit had signed off,
Okay.
but not PPL.
Okay, I'll move this forward, but before it goes to council, let's verify with the fire command and the police command, their union representation, that they don't have a problem with it. Because I'd hate to see it go to council and have a long debate on how unfair and how discriminatory. I mean, if we're going to approve it, I'd like to get it done and have that hashed out before it gets to the council floor. So between now and then, if we can check with them. Mr. Miller is the representative from the fire command, and Mr. Baker from the PPL, and then there's someone else from the police command. I just want to make sure that they're okay with it.
What I will do is I'll convey that to the mayor's office and have them to
Okay.
verify it.
As long as they don't come and object and protest, and then it has to get all hashed out. I'd rather, if we're going to do it, let's do it and move forward with it.
I'll call them right away since this is, I think there's a
It's scheduled for tomorrow in
yeah.
council.
there's a placeholder for tomorrow, so I'll make sure that that's done between now and the council meeting.
It's only 3:30, got plenty of time. They don't leave before 5. Pardon me?
That ninth issue may be resolvable through the mayor's office.
Yeah, that's who I'll contact.
Well, the mayor's office, you still have the unions you have to deal with.
No, she means they may have already spoken with the unions.
Oh, okay.
So I will.
They have that. I just want to make sure if it comes up tomorrow in council, it can be approved without having a whole new dialogue, debate, controversy.
I'll convey that.
That's what the committee meeting is for.
Okay,
Okay?
will do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So we recommend approval on that. And it's coming to council tomorrow. We on deadline, Pete? Are we on, no, on deadline because of the urgency between today and tomorrow?
Yes, it needs to be in place, in order to give this fire chief the option, it needs to be in place at least more than 30 days before July 12th. So we are,
So you're running tight.
we're kind of under the gun.
All right.
Thank
Okay, thank you. Number 4, please.
The city administrative officer and the Bureau of Sanitation are reporting relative to a request for one senior management analyst position. This is for the sewer service charge special investigation task force. This item has been approved by the Energy and Environment Committee, where they recommended approval of the CO recommendation.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Emilio Rodriguez, Sales Office. Bureau of Sanitation will form 5-member sewer service charge special investigation task force to handle 4 special types of adjustment to the city's sewer service charge. First 3 include properties with private septic facilities that now have connected to the city sewer system, single to multifamily conversions, and as well as water and power investigations of properties that no longer meet commercial irrigation designation. These 3 categories result in revenue to the Sewer Construction Maintenance Fund. The 4th category involves identification of and adjustments for properties that discharge directly into the LA County Sanitation District service areas, which should be exempt from the sewer service charge, as well as reduction for properties that have only partial use of the city sewer system. The Bureau has about 12 positions working on sewer service charge adjustments. The current estimated workload is about 40,000 cases for these 4 types of adjustments. However, a dedicated position is needed to spearhead the task force to investigate and correct billing inconsistencies in these categories so that the city customers are paying their fair share of usage of the sewer system, and to ensure that all adjustments are processed in a timely manner. The senior MA1 is requested to identify the scope of issues related to these special adjustments, initiate the development of improved processes, and address the majority of special adjustments, particularly related to the 4th category. It's anticipated that this will be a 3-year assignment. The cost of the position totals about $140,000, including salaries and related costs. The cost will be offset with any net revenue produced from the sewer service charge adjustments. There are sufficient salary funds within the Bureau's budget to absorb the costs. Otherwise, there's no general fund impact. We would like to amend the CO report to establish the resolution authority employment period from July 1st, 08 through June 30th, 09. as the report is a bit dated at this point.
What about the funding for the positions available in the sewer construction and maintenance fund?
Right.
That's where the money's going to come from?
Yes,
So there, you mentioned no impact on the general fund.
correct.
Sir?
David Chamber of Sanitation. Mr. Rodriguez concluded all our facts and findings, and we are looking forward to have this position in place so we can work on the adjustments and get additional revenues for the sewer construction maintenance fund.
And is this also a reduction if an individual believes they're overcharged? Or is this only to increase the dollars coming into the city?
The first three areas would be an increase, the last area would be a reduction.
Ma'am?
Lisa Mowry, Bureau of Sanitation. We are definitely recommending this. This is work that we've been working on with our existing staff for several years and have realized that we're just not able to be as proactive as we would like. So that's why we felt after trying to do this with existing resources for several years, we felt the time had come to ask for the additional position so we can really make a push on this work.
40,000 adjustments. That's a lot of adjustments.
There's 40,000 properties we need to investigate, but it may not all result in an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Tony Cardenas approves this. We will send you on your way to council with an approval. Thank
As
you.
the CAO report was amended, correct?
Yes, yes, with the amendment.
Thank
We
you.
also asked the position to be exempt from hiring freeze as well.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Number 5, please.
The city administrative officer is reporting relative to the 207-209 Memorandum of Understanding. This is for the Los Angeles General Services Police Officers Representation Unit.
You'd like to make it in the nick of time.
Yes, I did, sir. How you
You're
doing?
monitoring our meeting or what?
Good luck, sir.
You good luck? Yeah, you just stood right here and you didn't have any time to waste.
I'm telling you.
And you're all composed.
Sir, yes, sir.
So you didn't run.
Not at all.
Or we should have gone quicker for you. All right, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Thomas Winowski from the CAO's office. This item is a successor contract for the Los Angeles General Services Police Officers Association, MOU number 28. The bargaining members that are represented by LAGSPOA are known as special officers. They patrol and protect city facilities such as parks and libraries and city-owned buildings. And this contract is for a 2-year deal. It mirrors what other sworn units have received in terms of COLA. So it's 3.5% for 07 and 3.75% for 08. Other items include a lead pay assignment bonus that was existing. However, it would become pension-based for individuals that are regularly assigned that function. It also establishes longevity pay at a flat rate for members that have 10 years of service and 15 years of service. There are also reopeners, including an economic reopener that would allow the contract to be opened and negotiated.
How solid is our reopener?
Well, it indicates that if there's a emergency declared by the mayor's office or council, then we can go ahead and start the meeting confer process.
And is there any requirement that they must agree, or can we just talk until the city's totally broke?
Well, we would have to follow the regular, rules of impasse and meeting confer. So we'd have to get back to the table and discuss the items. And if we cannot come to a resolution, then we would have to file for impasse and go through those motions.
So there's a lengthy process with that, with the
It
reopener.
would probably take some time to go through and sort through.
And this total package is $376,000, annual ongoing costs approximately $721,000. Do we have that in the budget that's been approved for July 1st of 08? This reverts back to 107, effective July 08. So you're looking at 7%, no,
Yeah.
so you're looking over 7%. Is that in this budget? Because we're already past the previous one.
It's my understanding that the COLAs have been budgeted for the second year of the contract.
Okay.
The-
There'll be a nice retro check coming around.
Correct.
So this is in this current,
We're 1 year into it, and then we're one additional year for this next coming fiscal year for,
right, but the current budget that takes effect July 1st, we've got sufficient dollars in that budget, that approved budget, to cover this.
it's my understanding that the department has set aside funds for that.
Salary savings. Did you say salary savings?
Set aside funds for that,
The
for
general
the
service-
retro.
General services said, I'm
That's-
trying to figure out that we're not going to give you the money today and tell you tomorrow, by the way, we don't have it.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the department has factored that into their
Budget?
budget.
That was approved.
Correct.
Okay. Council member? How about you, sir?
Sir, we're just happy to get it over with. We have no problems with the contract, and we're on board.
Okay, thank you. I know you guys do a great job
Thank you, sir. We try.
keeping this place safe, and I see you on patrol frequently, walking the grounds and making sure we're safe, even the district offices. So you're with the bargaining unit or the union?
Yes, sir. Vice President.
Let the folks know we appreciate the services that they're providing for the safety of the city facilities and the city employees.
Sure will, sir. We think we have pretty much the best law enforcement job in the city, so we love it.
I'm not going to argue that. We're still here safe and sound. We thank you. Okay, we're going to move that forward.
Thank you.
All right, number 6, please.
Thank you.
The Personnel Department and the Chief Legislative Analyst have submitted reports in response to your motion and Mr. Garcetti's. This is relative to the feasibility of contracting with large chain gyms to provide city employees with discounted memberships and the percentage of employees who use existing membership discounts through their health care providers.
Hey,
Hi.
Marianne.
Good afternoon, Mary Ann Keene, Personnel Department.
Yep.
Cost for the program, we estimate to be about $67,000. We currently have very similar programs in our medical plans, so given the difficult budget times we're in, we recommend not contracting, but having the Personnel Department commence with a campaign to improve awareness for our employees.
I've been around for 40 years with the city, and I was, until I got into this, I was unaware that we even had this through our medical plans.
It's a recent addition to the plans in the last,
So when did it go in?
probably within the last 5 years. 5 years ago it went in.
'Cause I've been here for 7, and prior to that I was with the PD for 33. And I mean, I had joined gyms in the past and paid regular fees. I was absolutely unaware that this is part of the medical, because when you get that, if you don't renew, if you renew with the same plan, whatever you've got, you're not making a change, you don't really look at it, you just leave it as it is. So maybe a public awareness campaign for our employees, because I know that physical fitness, obviously, you're going to be a more productive employee, fewer sick days, fewer injured on duty days. And my whole focus on this was looking at the corporate part of the world, where the corporations are buying into these types of programs.
Right.
Where they sponsor and they reduce the rate for the employees, their families, et cetera, to try and get them involved in some kind of a physical fitness program. So my whole motivation was, if we have something that's going to work, and the reason I thought it would be, have a large firm, is that we've got people spread throughout this region of Southern California.
Right.
And a firm that would have multiple locations, hours that would be available to our 24-hour working staff of the city of Los Angeles. And I didn't care which firm it was.
Right.
As long as we had something that would accommodate. So the firms that we currently have in place, what firms do we have in place?
Through Kaiser, their largest is 24-Hour Fitness.
Okay.
Now, through Blue Cross, they're in negotiations with 24-Hour Fitness, but they also have Bally's. Both of them have Curves.
Curves excludes men.
That's true. But Bally's and 24-Hour Fitness do not. And then,
Well, I signed up for Curves, that's why I know that.
Went in with your boa.
I didn't know. Denise, there you go.
and then, so Blue Cross has Bally's. They're in negotiations with 24-Hour Fitness, and they also have a lot of the smaller gyms like Hollywood. Both of them have Gold's Gym.
But who compete, if you talk about 24-Hour Fitness or Bally's, I know in the Valley we have Spectrum, which only have a few. Does anyone have as many facilities, locations, I should say, in 24 hours as 24-Hour Fitness? Does anyone have the number of facilities is widespread and the availability 24 hours a day?
As 24-hour fitness?
Yeah.
I'm
Does
not,
that compete with that?
I'm not a gym expert, but I'd say they're probably the largest in the region. And like I said, Kaiser has it, Blue Cross is in negotiations for it.
With 24-hour fitness?
With 24-hour fitness. Now, PPL, about 8 years ago did this, and I just remembered that recently, so I called over there today, and they didn't have a very large.
I remember they paid something for the members?
They did, similar to what this would be, it'd be, you pay per member.
Right.
Like per city, the way the 24-hour fitness program works is you pay per city employee. And then for every city employee that joins, they get a lesser rate. PPL did something similar. It was a bit stronger of a program, and they discontinued it because it just wasn't cost effective, so few people were joining.
Yeah. I remember that when that was part of the, I think Mitzi Grasso brought that in to try and inspire people to work out, especially in those stress jobs of law enforcement. So my focus on it is to get something, and if we've got something now with Kaiser, and whether it's 24-hour fitness or something competing with that, like you can go 24 hours a day, since so many city employees, fire, police, other departments work 24 hours, will you be able to go at 5 or 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight, whatever the case may be? Valleys and the others, I think, Golds, they have regular standard hours where they close at night and
They do.
you don't go. What about the rate for the employees with Kaiser and with Blue Cross? Is it comparable?
It's a bit more than if the city were to get into a corporate gym membership with, in this case, 24-hour fitness. It is a bit more per month for the employee through our health plans.
How much more is it? Does the health plan give a subsidy then?
How
does that work?
The health plan, it's, they negotiate with these gyms, and so it's a separate program with the health plan, and I don't know exactly what their subsidy is to the gyms, but they do negotiate a contract with them.
Could we work a program, since they're both going to, you said Blue Cross is currently working with 24-hour, and Kaiser's already with 24-hour, and since we have both plans available for our employees, could we then help put together a plan that would share that expense and save for the employees' expense? Since they're city employees with these two medical plans? In other words, what I'm trying to do is get the people in as the least cost as possible to the employee, least cost to the city, but give them the opportunity to work out, stay in shape, don't get diabetes, et cetera, all those health issues. How can we work that issue? I know that the health plans compete.
Right.
If you're talking about going to the same place, 24-hour fitness, Bally's, Golds, whatever, to have a lesser rate, a lesser cost to the employee.
We can we'll talk to both Kaiser and Blue Cross and see if that's possible. I know they have a contract with them, so I'll see what their ability is to.
Because I was unaware until we started getting, I thank Mr. Perry for working on this, but when I looked at major supermarket chains, they all have this. Major corporations have this for their employees. There's a state assemblyman who was pushing a bill to mandate to all employers that would have to have a plan for their employees. So I thought we were on the right track, and then we really don't do much marketing on how you can get a discount rate to these gyms that people could enjoy that opportunity to work out. So there's no need to do an RFP or an RFQ or an RF anything. All we need to do is get something done at the lowest cost possible. And I can't see burdening the city if we don't need to.
Right.
But to move it forward somehow to get people involved in it. and
Right.
let
We
us know.
recommend that the personnel department do an advertising campaign to get the word out.
And we've never done that yet
No.
in 5 years.
We have a website that just came up this year that has all the wellness programs that we currently have available, and it's all advertised on that website. We've gotten a lot of hits on that website. It's phenomenal how many hits we've attracted on that website, but obviously it's not everyone has gone to the website, so.
But what if we put it on the bottom of the check?
We could.
You know, the checks that go out? And put, that
We can.
doesn't cost us anything.
No, it doesn't. We could request that.
I'm just thinking, get as many people involved as possible, keep them healthy, keep them working, keep them away from the illness. Because we kind of champion this thing, and I don't want to see it die, but I would like to see as many involved. Do we know how many are involved with Blue Cross or Kaiser in the plans?
That is the one difference between the Blue Cross plans and a separate corporate gym membership, is that we cannot track how many of our employees are enrolled through Blue Cross or Kaiser.
They won't tell us?
There's no tracking.
So how do we know if any are involved?
Pardon?
How do we know if any are involved?
We don't.
Is
We
there a
don't.
way to- Is there a way to find that out?
No. We've asked, and they don't track. It's just a membership that is offered, and if you show your Blue Cross or your Kaiser card at the gym. So the only way to do it would be to contact every single gym and see if anyone.
That doesn't
Yeah,
work.
exactly. So there's nothing, that is the one difference. We can still, through the city, have the different wellness programs, the different coming and speaking, brown bag lunches,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that.
We can't track it.
The one thing is we cannot track.
And is it showing that the more people involved in physical fitness, the fewer sick and injured on duty occurrences? Which saves us dollars and
Right.
more productive workforce.
Yes.
So what's your recommendation?
Our recommendation is to not go to RFP for a corporate gym membership, but for you to instruct the personnel department to commence in an advertising campaign.
And then in the meantime, see what we can do.
In addition, we'll talk to Blue Cross and Kaiser. We are currently going through the RFP process for our new benefit providers. So as part of that RFP process, I'm sure we can find out if there's anything in addition they could do with.
How many in this room are city employees? How many knew about the city subsidized health plan? Not one person. Well, Tom. Because you told him. That's the problem. Word's not getting out. And
Right.
maybe people would participate if they knew about it, especially at a reduced price because it's convenient. And, every holiday season, every summer season, people join gyms, and if they can do a buddy program, try and stay consistent with it. All right, what I'd like to do is get a report back to this committee on the results of the conversation with Blue Cross, Kaiser, and trying to work that out. Since they're already we're already with 24-hour, and the other one's negotiating with 24-hour. And if we can find out if there's any other plans available where you can have that 24-hour type facility.
Okay.
Maybe 24 Fitness is not the only one. Maybe some others have that. I can go to a market. Years ago, you couldn't go to a market after midnight. Now you got markets open 24 hours a day, pharmacies open 24 hours a day. So it seems practical to have something like that.
Okay.
So we can get that back. But go ahead and proceed with what you're doing.
Okay.
At the same time, I'd like to get that other information back, because I want to see something develop with this, at least so the employees will know, and hopefully get more people involved in it.
Certainly.
Because the survey shows people are not aware.
Okay.
And we can keep them happy, keep them healthy. Mr. Cardenas? Number 6? No questions, number 6. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 7.
The Personnel Department is reporting relative to semi-annual tally on exemptions. There's several reports that they're reporting on, and this is a breakdown by departments and bureaus for different periods, approximately 4 different periods.
Yes, sir.
Shannon Pasquale, Personnel Department. What you have before you is a report that specifically outlines those positions by department, by classification, that have subsequently been converted from exempt to civil service. There's a total of 49 positions that were exempted. Currently, right now, the count is at 101. And all of the other subsequent reports you had were reports that we had submitted in various periods of time, giving you an update of where we were at the count at that point.
So the numbers are going down.
They're going down.
Okay. And as I recall, the department that had the highest number was neighborhood?
Neighborhood empowerment.
Okay.
Correct.
And they've got 18 converted over. All right, sounds good. Tony?
No question.
All right, note and file. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shannon. Number 8.
And I apologize, earlier I read number 8 instead of 7. So
Oh, we got
the
it.
report that you just heard was item 7. The report that now you have before you is number 8.
Okay.
So 7
You
was
did number.
I
status.
combined 7 and 8 together in my presentation.
Okay, now I'm on number 8. I was on 7. Now I'm on number 8. We're all on number 8. Semi-annual tally.
Number
Why
8.
don't you read number 8 then? You read, well, read number 7.
Okay,
just for
item
the record.
7 is
Number 8.
a report on the feasibility of converting some of the existing 150 citywide department exemptions to civil service status. Item 8 is related, and it's a semi-annual tally on exemptions with a breakdown by bureaus and departments.
Okay, good. Number 8, Shannon.
Okay, number 8, we have those reports dating back, I think, as far back as 2006 that outline specifically where the count was at that point. And our most recent report to you was dated April 28th of 2008, which brings us currently to the count of 101.
Okay. I got April 23rd.
Correct.
I thought you said April 28th?
April 23rd.
Oh, 22-3.
Yeah, 2-3.
Okay. All right. So, okay, instruct the personnel department in lieu of semi-annual written report, provide an oral report to personnel committee of the current total number of exemptions in conjunction with each exempt request by the mayor. So let's note and file this report and direct the personnel department that in lieu of the semi-annual written report, provide an oral report to the personnel committee of the current total number of exemptions in conjunction with each exemption requested by the mayor.
Right. So from this point forward, whenever you have an exemption request before this committee, we will provide you with what the numbers are for the current count at that point.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. All right, thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Number 9.
Item number 9 was continued from last meeting, and this is a personnel department report. This is relative to consolidated reasonable accommodations for employees with permanent work restrictions as a result of industrial or non-industrial injuries or illnesses for the third quarter of fiscal year 07-08.
Good afternoon. My name is Alex Vasquez from Personnel Department. This item was before you at the last Personnel Committee meeting, and the committee had some questions regarding the airport's figures with regard to IOD hours and costs. So we brought with us some folks from the airports department so that they could address any specific issues or questions that you had. But in general, our quarterly report is regarding the city's efforts to provide reasonable accommodations, and we provide information with regard to number of hours by department that they have employees on light duty, the IOD expenditures, and total IOD saved by putting folks on light duty.
So the airport didn't know about the workout program. We now know about that program, so this will be cut down significantly, right? We hope. So what happened with the numbers were staggering?
And let me also clarify one point on one of the attachments, which is attachment 2. After talking to LAWA to clarify the number of cases that they have pending for looking into requests for reasonable accommodation. In our report, we had a number of 61, but
Right.
they subsequently went through each and every one of their cases and basically cleared out, and Paula can probably give you a better breakdown of what they cleared out.
The airport, aren't you?
Yes.
But they reported to us that they now have 18 pending cases. So they
Go to
basically...
61?
Paula Adams.
Snap them back into work, huh?
Paula Adams, Los Angeles World Airports. Our staff erroneously reported a number of 61. Those 61 cases dated back to August of 2004 and moved forward. Many of them are employees who are on long-term medical leaves of absence for a greater period of time than 6 months and should have been administratively closed and not reported on. We've gone through each of the 61 cases, and we're able to close out 45 of those. A significant portion, as I indicated, were on medical leave of absence. A handful had received a disability retirement. A few of them had been placed into modified positions where staff just mistakenly reported the number, and a couple received a regular retirement. To clarify, for the third quarter, LAWA received 15 requests for a reasonable accommodation assessment, of which 8 were placed, and we had 3 carryovers from an earlier quarter. So that number was just a mistake.
I see. Yeah, because some of these departments have 0, and when you see 61, it's like, whoa.
Right.
It's like they're running over, planes run over them or something when that incredible number. The police had 43, but you can imagine what 9,000 plus 3,000, so 12,000 people. The airport doesn't have 12,000 folks.
No, we have just over 3,700.
Yeah, see, that was, we knew there was something wrong with it. So that explains that part. Sir, you have any comments on this? Are you the Human Relations Safety Officer?
Actually, I work with safety. I'm the risk manager. My name is Jim McGurk, and I have safety under me as well as workers' comp. And in all actuality, why our total program costs did go up in the last fiscal year, our IOD, actual IOD paid has declined. Our IOD hours have trended downward over each of the last 4 years, and we expect that to come down again in the current fiscal year by about 8%. Our light duty hours happily have gone up, way up. They've skyrocketed since 2003, 2004. We were at about 7,000. The last fiscal year, we were at 21,000. So it's a very productive program, and we're very proactive about it. But we see that all those as positives.
Now when they hear about the workout program, it'll even get better.
Exactly so.
That's the whole thing about workouts, so hopefully they can stay healthier and not get hurt. Council member?
No question.
All right, that's good. I'm glad we got that matter cleared up. Thank you very much. We're going to receive and file that report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now a request from Mr. Taylor. He wants to continue item number 10. Mr. Taylor, when do you want to continue that till?
I'll see it Friday on the agenda, is that right?
When?
Friday on the agenda.
Friday on the agenda? All right, let's do number 10 then.
Good afternoon, council members.
Can you hold on a second?
Oh, of course, of course. Go ahead.
She's excited.
I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready.
We're going to go.
There are 2 items before you. The city administrative officer has submitted a report. This is in response to a motion by Ms. Gruel, sign, et cetera, relative to a supplemental fee agreement with Westfield America Limited Partnership and related staffing with the Department of City Planning. The Plum Committee, Planning and Land Use Management Committee, recommended approval of the motion and have subsequently waived consideration of the CAO report. After this committee acts on this item, it also needs to go to Budget and Finance Committee.
And there was a delay on this. Was it held up at the CAO's office for a report? Because I have a lot of requests for this. Do you know what the delay was in getting this report?
The only delay, council member, was the fact that it fell in the middle of the budget season, and that's all.
Because I kept getting calls on this, why are you holding it, why are you holding it? Mr. Perry said, we're not holding anything, so.
We're not
I just want to
yeah.
publicly state it, and the people who are here representing that we didn't hold anything, it was delayed due to the budget.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
You know what? Why don't you guys go?
Don't be shy, we're friendly committee.
Councilman, there's one thing, I am not shy.
All right.
Good afternoon, I'm Eva Yoan McDaniel, City Planning. We're here today to ask for your consideration and approval of the Westfield Supplemental Fee Agreement, which will give the city dedicated positions to process these very large-scale projects. And CAO is recommending the positions as requested from different departments, including City Planning, Transportation, and City Attorney's Office. There are regular resolutions authorities and also as-needed positions, and we ask for your approval. Thank you.
Who's going to pay for all this $2 million project?
and it's not going to be the city. Westfield will pay for it, 2.9 over 3 years.
$602,000.
Yes.
602, yeah, 2,900,900, okay, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but the
Almost
city,
$2 million.
it must be worth that much to Westfield. And we feel that this way it will allow us to process these projects without impacting the work caseload in the city and in the planning department.
So do we then hire 2 new planners and additional management analysts and transportation engineer, assistant city attorney, civil? Do we
Yes.
then hire additional folks?
Yes, these will allow, these are brand-new positions, and we will fill, and then we'll backfill. If it's a promotion, we'll backfill the positions. Because there's no general fund impact or any fund impact to the city, it's not a problem to the city.
And then what happens when this is complete and they pay this for 3 years? What if it's not complete in 3 years?
If if the projects are not completed within 3 years, the agreement can be extended based on agreement by both sides. If it's completed by within 3 years or at the 3rd year, we will roll the position into, not a position, the staff into our vacancies at the time, so they will not become a burden to the city.
Then it'll be on the general fund once they get rolled over.
Once they can go to other supplemental fee agreement or expedited section or other special fund positions in addition to general fund. There are many options.
How many supplementals do we have in place at this time?
We currently have Playa Vista, and that's one. And we don't have other ones, but we do have Universal still in the works.
And all costs in the project are paid?
I'm sorry, I missed the USC
All
master
costs-
plan.
All costs are paid, salary and benefits, all paid?
Everything, expenses, and it's 100%. Even when staff is not, when there's not enough work, they're still paying 100%.
They pay before, during, or after?
They put a deposit once the agreement is executed, and every quarter, if there's not enough fund, that in the upcoming quarter, they will put in more deposit. It's based on deposits.
Okay. So the city doesn't lose anything?
No, we don't, and we make sure of that.
And this, who does the audit to verify the fees are being collected?
We have dedicated positions in our accounting section that does the billing on a quarterly basis, and it's reviewed by management, and also the controller's office makes sure of that too. They're involved in auditing.
We've got safeguards for the taxpayers?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think, Mr. Cardenas?
No questions.
No agreement, huh? I agree with you. Mr. Taylor, you want to speak up?
Put it over for 2 weeks?
Yeah, we should continue this for a couple more weeks. No, this has been a long-standing joke. How long does it take to gear up to get this thing in place? All the personnel we're talking about. So I know they've been waiting on this, anticipating this will be coming along. So when we get our planner, management, transportation, attorney engineer, how long does it take for us to get moving so they can actually start these projects?
We actually have started the project already, and we can get reimbursed. We started the project with one person back in September 2007, so there's no delay to the working of the project. It's to get the agreement in place.
Right.
It's taking a little bit of time, but a lot is going on in the city.
Oh, I don't blame anybody. I know there was a lot of things that had to be done at one time. But what it does in the end is it brings in more sales tax, creates more jobs, so the city benefits financially down the road.
The 3 projects are in different parts of the city, so
Well,
it
there's
will.
one in the valley, and then where's the other 2?
2 actually in the valley, one in Topanga, and one is Sherman Oaks, the other one Century City. So it's different parts of the city. So if the projects are successful, all parts will benefit from them.
I thought the Century City project was already done.
No.
They still have to do more there? And then what are they doing in Sherman Oaks? I know what Topanga's doing. What about Sherman Oaks and Century City?
Sure. Christopher Coons from the Planning Department. The Century City project is the most advanced in its status, but we just finished taking in EIR comments, and we're looking to schedule that item for hearing in July. So that's the status of that project.
I've been to that facility. They have the dining court, dining terrace.
Right. That was basically a previous project. This project involves reconfiguring most of the retail space, moving the department store, the Bloomingdale's out to the street level, and adding a residential tower above that reconfigured Bloomingdale's.
What about Savannah?
That's a retail expansion.
No, Savannah's a restaurant on the south end. I've been there?
I have not been there. There's, okay.
Don't mess with that. It's good.
The company, Westfield's in the back, so I'm sure they're taking notes.
Well, that's big. And then what are they doing in Sherman Oaks? That's the one at Woodman and Riverside?
Right.
What's going to happen there?
I'm not the planner for that project, but if, Cindy, do you want to step forward?
You got to call the attorney instead of the planner? My goodness.
Oh. And I
Go ahead, Cindy, wherever you're comfortable.
Please. Hi, Cindy Starrett from Latham and Watkins on behalf of Westfield, and thank you very much, council members. The Sherman Oaks Fashion Square project, actually, I'm not working on it on a day-to-day basis either, but they're expanding the retail. They have a large Bloomingdale's there, and they'll be expanding the parking in the back, and the EIR for that, I believe, is on the street also. So it's also moving forward in Councilmember Gruel's district.
So there's an EIR for that, EIR for West LA, EIR for Topanga?
Correct.
So 3 EIRs going through.
3 EIRs, and then, of course, subdivision, and then other planning support, and then engineering, Department of Transportation. I think the CAO's office and the city have been very thorough about making sure that all the support that's needed will be paid for through the agreement.
Well, I know that Westfield's spending $1 billion in Topanga. What's the cost for Sherman Oaks and West LA?
I think with the 3 projects, it's close to $2 billion with all the improvements, and then the job creation, the union construction, all the things that will come with that.
$2 billion.
And one of the wonderful things about retail is that customers are very sophisticated and they always want the latest thing. So the goal for these projects is to come up with master plans that can be approved that allow us to deliver to the customers what they want so they can shop in the city of Los Angeles and they don't go to surrounding jurisdictions to shop. So
Tell Costco that. All right, no, that's good. I know that you guys have been waiting a long time for this, but I wanted to make sure you knew that it was held up due to the budget.
Thank you very much.
That anyone was playing games holding committees. So do we approve this? We'll send this on the way. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
That was number 10.
And that will conclude the meeting.
Pardon me?
Do you want to adjourn the meeting?
Well, no, we can continue going if you want. There's nothing else to talk about, so we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Like that, huh?
There you go. Thank you.